Alan Lipman. He's the founder and the director of the Center for the Study of Violence. Very few people are able to put something like this in perspective as well as you do, Alan. That's why we want to make sure we had you on the air. So let's go over some of the incidentals on this. Apparently, he went to the place where missionaries are trained, and he was rejected there. He was told that maybe he couldn't spend the night. Do you see that as a trigger? Do you see that as a triggering mechanism?
Well, let's set this thing in perspective.
All right.
Okay. When Matthew Murray went on his journey of rage and revenge to the Arvada mission, to Youth with a Mission, to the end of a party with these young children, he was going on the same journey of rage and revenge that Klebold, Harris, that we saw with Cho and we saw just last week with Hawkins. This is someone who had been provoked into rage. Someone who had been isolated, just like Cho, just like Klebold,
but when you
just
say,
like Harris.
But hold on a minute. Alan, when you say provoked, it makes it sound like he's the victim in this case and somebody did something to this poor guy. That's not what you mean, is it?
Well, you know, Rick, I am so glad that you brought up this question. And if there are people right now who are half listening to this, as often happens in these incidents that cycle around and again, turn around and listen. This man is not a victim. He is a murderer. Right. He is a homicidal killer. But if we do not begin to understand the reasons, and the U.S. Secret Service report that has documented each one of these incidents since 1985 demonstrates the reasons for these incidents, we will be standing there just like we stood here after Cho, just like we stood here after Hawkins saying, I knew it was going to happen, boy, and it happened. This is someone who is suffering from, as in virtually every single case, 93% of the cases, a serious, untreated mental illness that erupts into rage. And if we see it, we can stop it. And there are clearly identifiable signs, and instead of showing the gun strapped over the back and the natural-born killer images that we show, the sensationalism, we need to teach the nation.
Okay, help us out. Well, before we run out of time with you, help us out. What are the signs that you may have seen here? What do we all need to be on the lookout for so we don't get in front of some crazy like this?
Let's take the example of Matthew. What do we know about him? From a supposed good family, and he may have come from a good family.
Right.
We know that he was isolated. We know that he was reported as reclusive. We know that he was sending hate mail. And do you know that this study showed that the #1 indicator of these homicidal acts was not verbal assaults, was not vandalism. It was written material, just like Cho wrote those letters in the Virginia Tech case. This is someone who had dropped out of school at Arapahoe Community College, someone who had dropped out of school after one class at Colorado Christian. Angry, isolated, depressed, provoked, resentful, just like we've seen before.
And most importantly, maybe to your point, leaving signs that maybe sometimes we're too busy to recognize, but we do so at our own peril. You know, you're so passionate about this, and you make your points very well, and I think there's a message behind it. We're going to stay on top of this, Alan. We'll get you back. Appreciate it, my friend.
Good work, Rick.
By the way, we're going to be in contact with one of those police officials in Colorado because, you know, as I'm sure you've been listening to, there's probably some details here that we want to also bring you as more information comes out on this breaking story about police now saying it was the same guy who did 2 shootings on the same day, just about 70 miles away between one venue and the other. Okay, there's something else that I need you to weigh in on now. This also having to do with a shooting. You ready? Listen to this.
Mr. Horn, do not go outside the house.
This ain't